Hello everyone, welcome back to my top 10 list from this year's 7-day roguelike challenge. This one is my number 6, it's called Rogue Space Marine. And this was one of the first 7DRLs I played this year, I think. And it was immediately very impressive. Let's start a new game, shall we? So straight off the bat, really good presentation, especially for an entry that is actually a roguelike, rather than something like Hellion, which tries to fuse roguelikes with something else. Control in Rogue Space Marine is done either with keyboard, with mouse, or a combination of both. Personally, I like to combine the two. For the most part, I find that movement is more comfortable with the keyboard, so I use Q, W, E, A, D, Z, X, and C for full 8-directional movement with my left hand, but you can also use the number pad. And then I attack using the mouse. But you can also move using the mouse, and you can execute attacks using numbers on the keyboard as well. I just prefer not to do that. So, you will see straight away that at the top of the screen, we have a long list of what look like either abilities or items of equipment. And that's exactly what they are. We always start off with these same 3 abilities. A simple handgun, what looks like running, which is actually a short-range teleport, and a melee attack. Now, these abilities work on a cooldown system, so you have to be very careful about choosing when to use them, because if you fire off a shot and use a melee attack and then maybe teleport across the room to try and escape, that could leave you with nothing to defend yourself with. Which isn't that novel by itself, but it's integrated with something else in a way that's very interesting. We'll probably see that as we get going here. So, straight away to my south, there's an enemy. So I'm going to blast it with my pistol. You can select the abilities by clicking on them, or again, you can do it with number keys. So, I'll do this. And then I'll head over here. And there are basically 2 ways to win at each level in this game. One is to find and activate all the computers, which you do by walking on them. And the other is to kill all enemies on the level. That tends to be the way I win, at least in the early stages. And the early stages are about as far as I've got, because I'm terrible at this game. So, a far off shot there. But you can see now, the gun, top left-hand corner, is recharging. So if there was an enemy right here, we'd have to either make sure we retreat or use the melee attack, which itself has a cooldown. So I'm actually going to try and bait this enemy in for a melee, because he has a gun. So he can shoot us just as we can shoot him. Come on. I'm waiting, using S, or you would use 5 on the number pad. Yeah, there we go. And you actually get 2 attacks with the melee attack, so if another enemy had been following immediately behind, I could have hit both of them. Now, one of the things with this is you can, of course, wait, as I was doing just there, but you'll notice in the top right, it says time until red alert. So if you take too long on a particular level, red alert occurs, and then enemies start basically swarming into the level. So although it can be worth being patient at times, as in most roguelikes, it can also be very dangerous to be too patient. So it's kind of a variation on the hunger clock idea, which is used by many roguelikes. A way to make sure you don't spend too much time on any given level. So we'll keep waiting here. There we go. Nicely done. And I'm going to show you the teleport in a second, just so that you can see it. We'll melee this guy, then we'll teleport over here to any of these selected spaces, like that. And that, as you might imagine, takes the most time to recharge. So, the way combat tends to work out in this game is that it's all about positioning, which is very roguelike-ish. Because you end up taking a lot of cover. Like, the computer here won't provide any cover, but this block will. But manoeuvring behind cover isn't as easy as you might imagine, because you can't, although you can move diagonally in open spaces like this, if you're moving around a piece of furniture, You can't move diagonally. Pressing for a diagonal move actually causes you to use 2 turns like this. So you really have to allow a bit more time and a bit more thought for manoeuvring your way behind cover. And I appreciate that extra layer of thought and difficulty involved in making use of cover. The other thing, which is really interesting, which I suspect we'll probably see in action, if we don't see it naturally, then I'll show it off, is... right on cue, we took a hit. And this is what I was talking about. Look in the top left now. You'll see our gun is recharging because we just fired it, but our teleport is crossed out. You see, the ability bar doubles as a health bar. When you take a hit, one of your abilities chosen at random, in this case it was the teleport, is deactivated. And you can't use it again until you get to the end of the level. So this means that it sort of removes that aspect, which you sometimes get in games of when it's worth taking a hit to achieve something. Well, my health will regenerate in a minute anyway, is often the case in roguelikes. I'll get my health back in a minute anyway. I'll just tank a couple of hits here to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. No. In Rogue Space Marine, every single hit is seriously debilitating because it will actually remove some of your options for ability use. And it's fairly common to end up in a position early in the game where if you take a couple of hits, you lose both of your offensive abilities, and all you can do is run away and try to grab the computers before you take another couple of hits. If memory serves, you can still... that was close. If memory serves, you can still take one more hit after all of your abilities have been deactivated. But that, of course, will be your final hit. And these are the classic Doom-style exploding barrels. So you have to be very careful with these. Yeah. Witness me being very careful with them there. And you can see, of course, that the ability bar extends in shadow far beyond the abilities that we start off with. I actually have never survived... There we go. Finished the level by killing all the enemies. You'll receive a random new ability for the next mission. So we've received... What's this? Not sure what that is, actually. I'll try it out in a second. I've never had that one before. I was about to say, I have never survived long enough to get anywhere near all of the abilities. So I don't know if there are enough levels in the game for you to get all of the abilities, or whether it's a thing where, you know, you can get maybe half of them before the end of the game and you have to choose them carefully. Not sure. Haven't got far enough. So, now that we have a bit of free space, let's see if we can find out what this is. I guess it's a mine or something? Proximity mine, maybe? And it looks like that does recharge. It's not like the existing mine has to be detonated before you can use another one. It has a cooldown like all the other abilities. So I suppose you could pepper the level with mines if you're so inclined. Okay. Oh, this is bad. Don't really have enough attack abilities to make a go of this. Awkward, awkward. Ah, crap. Took a hit. Fortunately, we only lost our proximity mine ability there. So... No, dodge! Ah, still took a hit, so now we've lost the teleport. And this is exactly what I mean. I took a slightly careless risk there, which in most games wouldn't have been too big a deal. We've taken a hit or two. Holy crap. Look at all those enemies. In most games, even most roguelikes, it wouldn't have been that big a deal. You know, we take maybe a hit or two. It's unfortunate, but it's not a big deal. In Rogue Space Marine, it is a big deal. And that's one of the things which I find to be among the strongest features of this game. The fact that taking a risk on anything is taking a serious risk. And even a single hit can be extremely debilitating. And I've taken another hit. I'm playing really badly because I'm commentating. I originally expected this game to be much higher up the list because it's such a strong entry this year. But there were so many strong entries that this ended up being my number 6. This is Rogue Space Marine, and as always, I will put a link in the description below if you want to check it out for yourself. And I highly recommend doing so. Very, very well designed game and very well balanced in terms of difficulty. Rogue Space Marine. Thanks for watching, and rejoin me next time as we head into the top 5 with my number 5 pick.